Things are getting real good here. Now, I have basically 3 things I want to talk about with you guys today during this live stream. And yeah, one of them is kind of a surprise. Actually, yeah, one of them's kind of a surprise. So we'll save the surprise towards the end. But yeah, I just want to see real quick. Now, I don't know what happened. I cleared the downloads folder on my computer, and that like destroyed my OBS. I think I had files tied like in OBS that were in the downloads folder instead of like in a separate OBS folder. So I had to reconstruct a couple things here. And I think I got most of it fixed, but I'm not sure. So I'm just gonna test a couple things. Let's pull up the chat first of all. This is real important. Okay. Yeah, so I want to just like test a couple things real quick. Maybe you guys in the chat can let me know if you can hear these sounds. But yeah, and you know what? I think I'm gonna go. Let me refresh my channel page, and let's take a look at this. Oh, we need to change the title. Refresh my. We need to change the title of these things. I always have to like spell check everything I type because I have the worst spell check of them all. Like I have the worst spelling and talking. I'm just terrible when it comes to English in general. Okay, so let's throw this up. Okay. So I don't think YouTube updates automatically. Here, let me change it on YouTube real quick. Here, we'll throw this back up here for you guys. Okay. Cool. All right, so that title should be changed now. So if I refresh, there we are. New title. Bam. Well, welcome guys. Hey, first of all, for you guys out there on Twitch and YouTube that are checking out the stream, thank you so much for watching this instead of the American presidency elections. I appreciate it. We have, like I said earlier, we have 3 awesome things planned I wanna do with you guys today. And about half an hour ago, I wasn't like in the best mood. I think I was stressed and frustrated because there were so many things going on. I feel like I'm constantly putting out fires, both at like work and like my personal endeavors, and I just ran a quarter of a mile, and then I walked 3/4 of a mile, and it just about killed me. And it was just like a reality check to how I need to improve when it comes to my physical health. So yeah, it put me in a bad mood, but I'm in a great mood now. I don't know what has changed. I think it's because I'm live and I'm talking with you guys, and it's forced me to be happy. I don't know, it's just interesting. I thought I was going to be in a bad mood for the whole stream, but I'm feeling pretty good right now. I'm feeling pretty darn great. Okay, so here's what I want to do today. I have entered into a pumpkin carving contest for Ashes of Creation. And you know what? Let me show you my entry here. Let me show you my entry. And bam. Here is my entry, guys. Here, let me resize this so that you guys can see this. And bada bing, bada boom. Right here. This is my entry. You guys see this right here? This is my awesome pumpkin carving that I did. It was for Ashes of Creation, and I was pretty dang proud of it. That was until I got on and I looked at the competition that I had, the other people that made pumpkin carvings as well. So after I looked at all their pumpkin carvings, I realized how crappy my pumpkin carving was. And this is like the best pumpkin carving I've ever done in my life. I spent like 3 hours on this pumpkin carving. And whoa, this is like tripping me out because I see like YouTube behind me. But I spent 3 hours on this pumpkin carving. I was so proud of it. I submitted it, and then I got humbled. I got humbled by looking at all of the other submissions that were there. So what we're gonna do is we are going to watch the video. We are going to watch the video to see if I won an award in the pumpkin carving. Now, it's a long video. Most of the video is going to be talking about Ashes of Creation, which I'm totally down for. I'm really excited for that game. But there's only one part that I care about, and that one part is the pumpkin carving results. So, we'll hide this picture for now. Okay? We're going to hide the picture, and we're going to watch the video. And then as we get close to them announcing the results, we will bring up the picture and we will compare my pumpkin carving to the people that actually won. I haven't seen this yet. I might be one of the winners. I don't know. But we will compare my carving to their carving. Okay. So it's this one right here. I have not watched this video yet. Can you guys hear this all right?
Hello everyone. Salutations and welcome to our glorious Ashes of Creation's October development update.
Oh, wow.
No, I'm just having fun with you guys. Welcome to
I was gonna say, she's really getting
October
into character.
Update. We hope that you've had a wonderful month and that you've been super excited. We definitely are. Obviously, we have a lot of things to go over, so bear with us. We'll try to get it all jam-packed in an hour. But
this guy is so boring, man.
So quickly, I will just kind of go.
Did not dress up at all.
Our lovely people we have here. I'm obviously Margaret Crone. I'm the community and marketing lead for Intrepid Studios. And with me is Stephen Sharif, who's our creative director, as well as Jeff Bard, who is our lead game designer. You've probably seen their lovely faces. You guys look amazing. Jeff, your costume's so cute.
Yeah, Jeff, what are you?
I'm Marshall.
Oh.
Yeah, he's a firefighter dog.
I am the same thing I was last year, time traveler from the future, warning of a global pandemic.
I shake my head at you, Stephen. I shake my head at you.
Yeah, it's terrible.
A little bit earlier.
It's absolutely terrible.
It was last year in October. That was like multiple months prior to the pandemic.
But nobody listened.
Oh,
Can you guys hear okay?
Still not listening.
Do I need to turn it up or down?
quiet. If you, I don't know how you got quieter for some reason, but if you can check that.
Here, Steven.
Jeff.
Oh,
Jeff.
really?
You were loud before, but I don't know what happened.
Hello, testing, 1, 2, 3.
Change it on my end too.
All right.
But chat, let me know if anything's weird. I just
look at this right here. The glorious Gourd winners.
What we're doing, but I have
on
to
the
stop
agenda.
and talk about our costumes.
That's all we care
So
about.
Margaret, you're a witch?
You know, McP can't be here on the stream, and I feel like the witches need to be represented. But
Yes.
I do have another costume. We're gonna do a screenshot of like all of our costumes because we have a Intrepid Life. Like all of us are getting together later. We're doing Jackbox games, and we're gonna be doing a little costume contest. And
Nice.
the community team has a group costume, but it'd be really weird for me to be in that costume without them.
So are you a particular type of witch? Or like from a specific type of series or movie that you feel best represents?
He's sounding like an
Oh
alien.
no, I'm not.
Are you a good witch?
Are
Or
you
a
a
bad
good witch or a bad witch?
Well, I mean, I'll leave that up to everyone else to decide. You know, give me the best. Give me some backstories. Post on the forums.
It's kinda
someone start
cool
a
what she
thread.
did with her
give me some
filter there
backstories, and I'll pick
to
the
make
best
herself
one and I'll
look
read
green.
it out. Maybe next live stream or something. That'll be fun.
That sounds
right?
good. Yeah.
Okay. Stephen approved. So I just want to go over what we're going to be talking about today. We have quick updates. I'm going to go through all of those. We have a studio update from Stephen, and he'll also be talking about our creative director's letter. If you haven't checked that out, we also emailed y'all.
Don't
it,
worry, guys.
so
We're
y'all
gonna
should have it.
get through the
If you're
updates here,
new,
and then we
definitely go
will
check it out on our forums.
see
or
the glorious
forums and
Gourd
also our
winners. That's
website.
the last item on the agenda.
We have a design update with a video of some PvP combat. Reminder that everything's early. Environment art update, as well as some character art update to action. And we are going to announce our glorious Gourd winners.
Glorious.
We lost to Steven.
That's what we're in for.
What happened?
Oh no.
Your camera
Where
dropped.
did you
Steven.
go, Steven?
Okay. Hopefully he joins us. And then we, of course, have our Q&A. Our lovely Toast, aka our community manager, has put together all of the goodies. Yeah, he is echoey, but I think it's because Steven...
Something terrible has happened.
There we go. I
Technical
think he was echoey
difficulties.
because he didn't mute himself on the Zoom call. Is that better?
No.
Oh,
Come on, Steven.
I don't know what's going on.
Okay, we're gonna
Sorry
fast
about
forward
that.
a little bit here.
Oh, it's fine.
Doing it live.
It's okay. You know, this is the thing with doing stuff from work from home. We're gonna have overgearing, which is kind of like, you know, aka
Okay.
twinking for those of us who are more well versed in the.
We're
in the
gonna go back a
realm.
little bit.
Have a new dev discussion coming up. We have overgearing, which is kind of like, you know, aka twinking for those of us who are more well versed in the realm of MMOs. So yeah, get excited to talk to us a little bit about that. We'd love to hear your thoughts. So stay tuned for that next one.
Okay.
We also have our next cosmetic set will be swapping over. So that means the woe within the woodlands is going to be removed on November 7th, 2020 at 11 a.m. Pacific. Reminder, daylight savings time changes are happening November 1st, so get ready for that action. And then
This cosmetic
I
pack was pretty cool.
believe Beyond that, we have our 24-hour live stream. So you're going to get a little bonus extra live stream that will be on November 7th, 6 a.m.
Cool.
EST.
24-hour
and that will
live stream.
be
That's pretty awesome.
ending at November 8th at 6 a.m. PST. We have a lot of cool things planned for you all. If you haven't already checked out the milestones, we brought back some of the milestones that y'all really liked. So hopefully you enjoy those. And we also have quite a few other surprise things. Steven has said that if we hit the 30,000 mark during the 24-hour live stream, he will shave his beard live on the stream. So
Yes.
that'll be
I'm very conflicted because I want us to hit that as a community for the children, but at the same time, I do not want to shave the beard. So there's a significant conflict there.
All right.
You know what?
I think
though,
I'm going to be
Steven?
making some donations.
People like our paint, as we've noticed from last year. But we will be having people tested for COVID. We're going to be bringing in a group of people together to play. I think about 7 of us, right? 6 or 7 of us who are going to be playing
Yeah,
together.
I'm not sure.
We'll be playing. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just I don't know how many are in the party.
Okay.
But it'll at least probably be 5 or 6. Yeah.
So they're gonna play
That
the
are-
game
that are-
for
that are in
24
the party.
hours.
I'll be DMing. Sorry.
That's pretty
So
awesome.
Stephen will actually be jamming this time instead of McP. And we'll have a group of people that will be joining us. We're going to test for COVID. We're going to be safe, but that group of people will be together. We're going to also have some call-in time. So we'll have some break
Right.
time so people can eat our 16.
We're gonna
viewers be
skip
part of it.
forward a little bit.
So yeah, come hang out with us. It's going to be great. Beyond that, I want to move on to our studio updates. Steven, if you want to talk about that, and then also talk about our creative director's letter, which I will pop up on screen the timeline once you get to that.
Absolutely, yeah. So, as many of you likely have read, we did release the creative director's letter in October, and in that letter, we did reveal the testing date schedule for Alpha 1. Now, this is
That's pretty
the
cool.
schedule as it is today, but with development, it is entirely possible. I want to make sure we're setting the right expectations. It is entirely possible that as these periods come about, there are things that we need to address, or there could be delays that occur based on kind of our iterating through what we're learning from these different test dates. So keep that in mind, be cognizant of that. However, as things stand, we do have the first testing with all Alpha 1 participants coming up in December. It'll be a 4-day test, after which there'll be a full wipe of the servers. That will be under NDA. However, I will be obviously streaming. The studio will be releasing video content of those events, so you can kind of see the state of the game during the NDA relevant pretests. And then following up on that in February, there'll be an additional 4-day test.
Wait, so this is just 4 days. So the Alpha 1 for Ashes of Creation is just going to be 4 days long. In December, right? There's going to be 4 days in December. Looks like February, there's going to be another 4 days. All of these are going to be under NDA. So we're not going to have like super crazy gameplay footage from... We're not going to have super crazy gameplay footage from these NDAs, or from these alpha testing, right? And then in March, we're going to have a full week for the Alpha 1 play testing. Interesting. April, it will finally be a whole
month-long Alpha 1.
That'll be cool.
That will still be under NDA. And then come March, we will have a 1-week test in preparation for the full month test. That will not be under NDA.
Merit,
and
bro.
We will be inviting our official content
What's up,
creators,
man? Thanks for coming and checking out the stream.
We'll be releasing more information, probably around the start of the new year, for what that content creator program looks like. I know Margaret's been doing some work on that with the community team and preparing the official content creator program for next year.
I'm working
so we're excited
digitally.
Yes, and we're excited to kind of to roll that out. Additionally, as you guys have probably been aware, the last couple of live streams, we did go through our hiring period, our hiring phase, and that is predominantly finished. There still obviously are going to be positions that are left up on the intrepidstudios.com website. And that's because we're always looking for talent in certain positions, and certain positions have multiple seats at the studio. So it's important to keep those up as we kind of continue to move through the year. Our next major hiring phase, which will probably start around the end of January timeframe, you'll receive more information on that, and you guys can help us. As you guys have already helped us and done a great job in kind of spreading the word for Intrepid Studios and Ashes of Creation, we've received
Can I note on that? Like our social media, like you all have been so lovely. Violet Light has been just loving interacting with you all, and me too. I pop in there, and I know Steven does too. We have so many amazing people leaving wonderful comments, and you're engaging with us on a lot of our funny questions that we offer.
That's so cool and random. Thanks for coming and checking out the stream.
We try to sneak those in there outside of
I don't know any Turkish language, so
and
sorry
I want
for
to
that.
also say, like, all of the sometimes we go to like respond to somebody, and someone else in our community has already like responded to a tweet, responded to a Facebook post, responded in Discord. So like all of those things are very welcoming and helpful. And you don't need to be condescending to anybody. You can just give them the answers, because a lot of people just don't know. That's their first time hopping in and seeing Ashes of Creation, and for you all to be really welcoming is gonna make me cry.
Yeah,
I'm a proud mom.
I've been a part as a player, part of a lot of MMORPG communities, and one thing that's extremely evident to me, and I think the rest of the Intrepid team, is just how welcoming and positive and friendly the Ashes of Creation community is. I mean, it's important,
this is true.
Obviously,
the culture is pretty awesome so far.
That the ecosphere in which the community exists is a positive one and is a friendly and inviting and welcoming one, because that aids in the momentum of population when it comes to people staying and sticking to the server and the game. That social experience is an important one. And having a good community is really an integral component of that highly social environment that people want to be a part of. So you guys have done an amazing job in kind of satisfying the itch of what a good community can be for a lot of players who either might be new to the MMORPG genre or may have not experienced this community since the heydays of MMOs that they were originally a part of, and it itches that nostalgic fever.
Some people even said this is going to be their first MMO, which I'm like,
Oh, that's so cool.
yeah. I'm like, I remember my first MMO, you know,
What?
like, and I look back at the fond memories that I have and the nostalgia that
I think my first MMO was some like crazy. It was like some Asian fantasy. It was like something like with the word sky in it. I don't know. It was such a long time ago. I feel like I've been playing MMORPGs like my whole life.
I have, and
I don't even remember my first one. What it was called.
Yeah.
Yeah, just
It was
always keep
cool,
in
though.
mind, the more people there are, the more fun this game gets. And it's kind of, that's how we're building it, is the more people, the more opportunities for cool things to happen. So
Yeah, so that's kind of the studio update, the creative director's letter, the dates that were announced. And by the way, I missed the last date. The last date is the month-long test
most
that's going to
important
be. Yeah, the most important thing. The month-long test that's going to be.
That's
in
the one we
April,
care about, guys.
Starting April 6th, going to May 6th.
April 6th.
Obviously, just to reiterate once more, Alpha 1, this is a true development alpha. This is not a marketing alpha. And what that means is, as you know, part of the process here in developing Ashes of Creation is being open with that development so you guys can see that progress. And it is a double-edged sword. People are, there are going to be a spectrum of people that exist who are very involved with the game's development, and those who are just completely, at an arm's length away in understanding the process. And they may look at Alpha 1, the people who don't really understand the development process or haven't been a part of it, they may look at it and they may think, oh, this is trash, looks like trash, whatever, this is the end product. But at the end of the day, what's important for us and what yields the best possible product is for us to include as much as possible of the community in that development process with no NDA, so that you guys give valuable feedback. And as we go through the iterative process in further defining the game and fleshing out that content, we're doing so with the player in mind and their voice in our ear. That is, I think, one of the key distinguishing factors between our development and many developments that you guys may have seen in the past, and products that have shipped in the past or are still shipping today that don't include that process. So we've kind of hung our hat on that being a positive thing, and we're going to continue forward doing so, taking into account the two-sidedness of that sword. So.
Yeah, it's funny.
This is why I hope I
did,
win
like,
the
IGDA
pumpkin carving
meetup,
contest
a lot of
to get
developers were
access to an
talking
Alpha
about
1 key.
how, closed doors development is, and someone even mentioned that Intrepid is a great. They used it as an example for how, like, good open development. I was like, I work for them, and the person. I don't think the person realized it, because obviously I was dressed up as like a costume. But it was really it was a moment where I was like, oh, I'm so proud of everybody. Like, we definitely try our best, and I think no matter what, we're gonna make mistakes. I want to be upfront about that. Like, it's gonna happen. And obviously throughout our process, we're gonna learn a lot of things. So you're learning it with us. So thank you so much for being on the journey with us and being understanding. It goes a long way, and it's not something that everyone's doing. So yeah. Anything else you want to add, Stephen?
No, I think that's it.
Cool. Then I think we can move on to the design update. Do we want to play the video first?
Yeah, but let me preface this video. So we did a little short video, and just to give you guys an idea, as we've been leading up to the December test for Alpha 1, we've been trying to optimize as much as possible a lot of the network traffic that occurs on the server, the processing that happens on different server workers. And obviously one of the largest, most costly aspect of of the gameplay is player movement. And the more players you include in an area, the higher player density, the kind of exponential that replication occurs between knowing the position and updates of players around you that are relevant. And as you add more players, that becomes, very, very, very a lot. So the engineering team has been working pretty diligently, at least over the past few weeks, on optimizing as much as possible the way movement in Unreal Engine works, kind of customizing a little bit, what we need for Ashes of Creation, for that to encompass a large portion of players. Now, yesterday, the smaller amount of people, I think we only had about 80-ish that were connected in a very dense location, everybody around each other. But that gives us good metrics for us to kind of understand how that's going to scale as it goes up even further. So we wanted to just take a quick little video to kind of show the progress in seeing those amount of players, kind of their movement being fluid and smooth around each other, kind of getting that update a lot better than where it was, 2 months ago, and 2 months prior to that, and 2 months prior to that. It's a process. But what you're going to see is just a little PvP battle at a castle. Obviously,
PvP battle at a castle.
Keep in mind, a lot of the effects are still very first pass, and many have not had an opportunity to take second passes on. So you're going to see them being, maybe overly bright, a little oversized, but that kind of stuff is easy to kind of second pass on. So that's why we don't prioritize it, early on. So don't take too much issue with the over effects stuff there.
And animations are still in progress, so there might be some changes that you'll see coming along the lines with those as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So just wanted to preface.
Okay. All right.
All right, let's watch
We'll
this,
see
guys.
you after the video.
Here it comes.
Hello everybody! Welcome to another video inside the pre-alpha testing for our Alpha 1. As you can see, I'm surrounded by some fellow compatriots here outside of a castle. They are jumping up and down like crazy. We're just having a good old day of testing. I'm joined by Margaret Crone, our community marketing lead, and Sarah Flanagan, our senior community manager.
Great. Hello. I'm gonna kick your butt.
Yeah, I don't know why my team's trying to kill me.
I'm on the defending side.
So just to give you guys a little bit of a refresh,
hey, that was cool.
As you guys know, we're working currently towards Alpha 1. A lot of what we've been doing in today's test has been iterating upon some of the player character movement and how that needed to be a little smoothed up, and we've gotten some good progress out of today's testing. Compliments of our glorious engineering team, in particular Adam Pippich has been doing a great job on the movement update, so that's good to see. But what you guys can see now is we're in front of a castle, and as you guys know, castles can be owned by guilds, essentially guilds that are capable of winning the initial siege of a castle and defending it over time. Some of the things we talked about in the past, a little bit about castle
this is
sieges,
looking pretty good.
In the weeks preceding the actual castle siege, there will be
Lupe.
nodes that the owning guild will have to kind of develop. And part of that development is kind of
Thanks for checking out the
taxes,
stream.
From the nodes
Puff
that
Guy
exist
Lava.
under the purview of that economic region that this castle holds control over. So while obviously not all the systems are in place for Alpha, what we thought we'd do today is demonstrate a little bit of some group v group combat within the castle. There is an objective inside this particular castle right now. There is a little tax caravan in there. And as the attackers, we are going to try to get a foothold inside, eliminate the defending players, and see if we can destroy some of the caravans.
Try. You could try to eliminate
Are you
us.
on the enemy team, Margaret?
I am on the enemy team.
Oh my gosh!
Or am I spy?
Are you spy? What are the defenders doing in there?
They're not setting up in a defending position like they should be. Oh, they're all moving now that I said that.
Are they playing leapfrog?
I was just like, they're not really in a defending position right now.
Well, there's no time like the present, so let us see if we can get in there, guys.
This is the siege right here.
Let's charge.
Charge!
All right, don't shoot until you see the whites in their eyes.
Wait, they can just walk into the castle?
Come at me. I have
Alright,
people to protect me.
As the tank, I'll run in first. Oh god. Oh my god, I cannot see anything. Kill the purple ones!
Whoa. Yeah, the
Oh,
animations
my.
are crazy.
I'm gonna cheat a little bit.
Cheater.
Hold on, let me... the health real quick, hold on, let me fix it. Oh, okay, I'm good. I'm impervious. They can't harm me.
This is a little hard as a healer right now.
The cleave damage. It's crazy that all melee has cleave.
Oh, where's my
I
where's
saw
my
you,
attack?
Steven.
Get over here.
Whoa, these animations are crazy huge.
I'm laying down my best covering
Get
fire.
out of here. No, you killed me.
Oh, my fellow attackers are here! Clear the field and let's try to take down the caravan.
Caravan has 10,000 hit points. What do you guys think about this?
DPS the caravan down.
I could only heal
Oh,
so
We're all
coming in
good.
from the
That's
west.
amazing and fun to watch. Yeah. Okay, fia woman we all go. Fafakaye. Maka maka loaka.
Keep
This is
targeting the
crazy. I
caravan.
have no idea what's going on.
This poor horse is so nonchalant.
We gotta get back there. Stop them from killing our
This
You'll
looks-
never
caravan.
get back in time.
I think we can. We can do it.
It's almost out.
Someone rage quit.
Hey, we got it!
No, not our
GG.
caravan. Back now.
Oh, you can loot stuff. Try to loot stuff.
Yoink. Oh, I got murdered.
Loot the taxes! I found Adam.
This is actually pretty good. This is
Taking my
pretty
life, but they can't
fluid.
Take my dignity.
Oh no, we gotta run. Retreat!
The fluidity of the combat is way better than I was expecting.
What fat loot did you get, Steven?
I don't know. I think I got
Like, obviously, the animations
What?
need to be reworked a little bit, right?
I don't know what was
I
in it.
worked
I
so
think there
hard
might have
for
been
that
gold.
money.
I think it might have been gold.
To pay our mayor, GM Alex.
And I feel like,
But anyways,
Don't
guys,
spend it all in one
is
place
it
now.
just
too
wanted to show you
realistic?
some of the very
I don't know.
early Alpha 1 combat. Obviously, we're going through a significant overhaul of the
It looks
combat
really
stat
good.
system. In addition,
fluidity
we'll likely
is
see
looking really
in
nice,
the
though.
non-NDA version of the Alpha 1, some major changes in the general feel and appearance of combat as our designers are continuing to overhaul and iterate on the testing that we've done thus far. So really appreciate everybody kind of tuning in and watching this video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Obviously, as I said, it's early, but you'll be able to then see, hey, Alex, what are you trying to do here? Unbelievable. Look at this. Look at this unadulterated anger from Alex.
Yeah, I'm watching from above.
Anyways, we'll see you guys back on the stream.
See ya.
Bye now.
okay, that was
overhaul and iterate
pretty
on
cool.
Mayor, GM Alex.
Okay, so the fluidity is way, like, that was my number one concern. My number one concern was the fluidity of the combat. And I feel like this is off to a really good start. Like, he seemed very fluid throughout that whole fight. Fluid meaning he was able to travel around as he was auto-attacking. There was very few times where he was, like, locked into place and it seemed like a turn-based action game, right? It seemed like this ever-evolving, growing amoeba of combat, and that's exactly what I was looking for. So that reassured so much of my doubt when it came to fluidity. It's off to a really good start. It's made big improvements even from last month when they showed us the combat there. Obviously, the animations need to be reworked a little bit. I feel like the environment looks awesome, right? I feel like maybe the contrast between the player and the environment for some reason is let's see if I can find a good example in here. But I feel like he blend in with the...
I think we can do it.
It's almost there.
I feel like in these huge mass fights like this, you're gonna lose your character. So I wonder if they can make your character stand out a little bit. Maybe make it so it's not so dark in the environment. I don't know. I don't know if I have a solution for it, but that's just like one of my takes. Is the environment looks awesome and very realistic. I'm just worried about losing your place in the in dark environments during a whole bunch of crazy combat like this. I guess that's all I'm trying to say. But other than that, like I'm really impressed with the melee combat. It's crazy how it's cleave, right? That all melee weapons have cleave. So that's pretty interesting.
Someone rage quit.
I'm worried that they're gonna balance the melee weapon cleave, because like if ranged is single target, right? And melee weapons are cleave, that's such a huge benefit over melee, that you can cleave down multiple targets. So I'm worried that they're gonna nerf the damage of melee weapons because it's cleave and boost the single target melee weapon damage. You know what I mean? I don't know. It'll be interesting, like further on to see It'll be interesting further on to see how they change the combat. But right now, like the very, very basics, it's looking pretty good, and the animations actually look pretty good, even though they need to be reworked. Like they look cool. I mean, they look like they have impact in the game. So yeah, I'm excited, guys. I'm excited for this game. All right.
So, really appreciate everybody coming back on the stream.
Yeah. But I noticed that there was a lot of comments in regards to specifically the particle effects, which we did address before we played the video.
Right.
But if you want to talk a little bit about that again,
Yeah, and just to kind of give you guys ideas, right? Like as I was watching the stream and it's okay. There we go. As we develop, and our effects artist, which Jim is a very, very talented effects artist, as you can see with the effects. But when it comes to kind of polishing those effects, that includes a few factors. One, some of the effects need significant reductions in their general size. And that's because obviously as you enter into kind of raid situations, whether it be raid versus raid or PvE events where you have a lot of players that are kind of using these effects, not only will the effects be customizable on the client side to kind of tune them to a degree, but also our second and third passes from the FX team is going to be taking a look at reducing some of the sizes like the black hole effect or the template that's on the ground
black
for
hole
the
is crazy.
meteor effect. The brightness of particles is also something that gets that will be iterated on. Some of the particles are very bright as well. But the idea here is to from an effects pass standpoint, you have these list of abilities that exist, obviously with all the different classes that are present. And as you're running through to get effects in place for all of them, you're making these first passes on each of these abilities, and that's getting implemented into the game's development. Now, you guys may have heard the term like gray box when referring to games that are in development. If they don't have an asset, they'll use a gray box, right? Or they'll throw something in that's kind of placeholder. Our approach is similar in that regard with effects, right? In the sense that we're not throwing in gray box particles per se, right? we're throwing in a representation of what the particle coloration is going to be, how its interaction is going to look like, but it just hasn't had that second and third pass. So you're going to see that kind of often through different alpha footages that you're going to get in Alpha 1, because our philosophy is let's throw the first pass in there, and then as we kind of get all of those in place for each of the classes, then we'll go back and do second pass. We'll tune them appropriately.
That's brilliant. Yes, dude. Yes. Like the fact that they're making the particles and their presence customizable in your own personal UI, that's amazing. I haven't played another MMORPG that's let you do that. Like instead of trying to balance it for everyone, why don't you make it look really awesome? Obviously, you gotta make it playable in the game, right? Like it can't be too over crazy. But the idea of making it them developing what they think is awesome and perfect, and then letting you customize on top of that, that's just more than I could ask for. That's just exactly what we want.
And I think there were some concerns about like color blindness and epilepsy and stuff like that. I don't know if you guys want to kind of talk about that and address that a little
Epilepsy.
bit. Obviously, I know that'll be like further down.
I mean,
the
I
line
didn't mean
as
to
well,
laugh during that, but
those are
it's a
things that you
serious
guys are
question.
definitely thinking about as
It's
you're
just
creating these things, right?
So true
For
with all the
sure.
explosions.
Little known fact. I don't know how many people know, but I'm actually red and green colorblind, and it is definitely an important aspect of in particular of UI related informational type things. So that includes like the attacker that'll have like a red icon next to them. It's not just going to be color dependent. There'll also be a texture. There will also be an icon like a sword to represent that. For defenders, you'll have a shield and a blue background with a different type of texture on that. Same is true for a lot of different user interface points that'll be present that are informational in the game as well.
Cool. Do you guys want to talk a little bit about maybe
That's
Castle
a good
Siege
point.
and
I'm
PvP
glad they're
stuff,
putting
or
that
are you
attention
ready
to
move on
detail
the
in.
next topic?
Oh yeah, no, we can absolutely talk about that a little bit.
Okay.
So as was described kind of in the video with regards to the taxation and each week kind of leading up to the ultimate castle siege itself, one of the important aspects on a weekend basis that's going to occur between the relationship that the castle has with nodes under its purview in its economic region is going to be moving those NPC generated caravans at a time that the Lord determines of the castle. But it has to be during one of the weekends and the weeks preceding. And if they don't make that choice, it'll be by default at a certain time period that's central to the server's core time zone.
Okay.
But those then NPC driven caravans will make their way to one of the subordinate nodes around the castle, and those nodes, obviously are different than the node system in the Vera proper. These are dedicated specifically to the castles. And as those tax revenues come in, they help to build and support one of those nodes corresponding to which week it is. There's 3 nodes, 3 preceding weeks to the castle siege week. And then players who are perhaps enemies of that guild have an opportunity to intercept, destroy, and loot those caravans. So while a lot of those systems aren't currently set up in Alpha 1, we do have the caravan system set up that you can assign yourself as attacker defender. We have some of the castles that are present in Alpha 1 that you can see, and we just kind of wanted to use this kind of demonstration to show you what this might look like at a smaller scale. Yeah, Jeff, I don't know if you have
I have
anything
a
to add.
question for Jeff, actually, if you wouldn't mind talking a little bit about it. When it comes to classes and PvP, what is kind of like your design theory on like designing for that? Obviously, I know we have a lot of people who are interested in PvP, and balance is kind of a lot of people's concern with 64 classes.
I mean, yeah, it's a big, huge, gigantic thing to work on, right? But the way that we're approaching it philosophically is not 1v1 combat, right? Like that would be an impossible thing for us to really do, and it's not really a direction we want to go with the game, right? We're really focused on sort of mass PvP, right? So not like one-on-one kind of encounters, not really even party versus party encounters, but like these big fights around nodes, these big fights around castles, these big fights around caravans. So a lot of it is trying to figure out ways and balancing ways for classes to work together synergistically, so that like your focus as a team is building out the best the comp that synergizes best for what you've got. And we balance it that way. So we balance party on party, we balance party group on group, and sort of the different configurations of those things. So we look at it more as a macro scale balance problem rather than like a micro scale balance problem. So there will certainly be classes, that, especially depending on your builds, because we are a build focused game, that just blow other comps out of the water. And that's okay for us. But what we do want is for parties.
Oh, thank goodness. Thank goodness, guys. You mean there's going to be some classes that are going to be stronger than you and some classes that are going to be weaker than you? You mean to say that you're not going to just be the most geared player on the server and be able to 1v1 like a whole team or something? That is awesome. Like I think that's a good thing. I think it makes it like playability like more fun. I think it makes it so you have to be like aware in combat, like, oh shoot, I'm weak against this guy and I'm strong against this guy over here, right? So I'm going to be focusing on this guy. Like I think combinations, and like if I'm really weak versus the monk class, or then I might want to gear differently, right, when I fight against the monk class. Or I don't know, like I really like the idea of it not being totally balanced. It's also fun because that means once in a while you'll be able to go and just one shot someone and destroy them, and that makes you feel good. Like yeah, you might get one shot by somebody else, but I don't know, like it, to me it's worth it if I get to do the one shotting sometimes, you know. What I don't like is when there's just one class. Like when you try to balance them all at the same level, there's always one that peaks out a little bit, and it feels bad when you're not playing that one class. But if every class gets to peak out and every class is strong in some regard, then it might be worth it. Obviously, we'll have to see like once we have more information on the classes. Like I feel like there's 3 classes playing in this clip, right? But yeah, I don't know, and I might change my mind. But
these to be relatively well balanced as long as they've been built sort of with the encounter in mind.
Right, and just to expand a little bit on that, you know, we have specific terminology when referring to archetypes and classes. Classes are the combination of your secondary archetype with your primary archetype, right? And a base archetype is one of the 8 base archetypes that we have present: the 4 martials and the 4 arcane, the ranger, fighter, tank, and rogue, and the cleric, bard, mage, and summoner, right? So those are the 8 archetypes. Now, when you look at balancing, as Jeff was saying, we kind of focus more on the group and even larger as a balancing aspect. And what that means is we're adhering to kind of the Holy Trinity principles. And at the same time, that represents kind of a rock, paper, scissors balance between individual archetypes and classes. So it's understood that some classes and or archetypes on a 1v1 basis will be disadvantaged or will have the advantage. And that we're okay with that because, again, our focus is the larger engagements. And with that being said, the active skills stem from your base archetype. So from a design standpoint, even though augments do radically change the way your active skills kind of provide you abilities, there's still a primary focus on the base archetype itself and not the 64 whole classes, so to speak.
Yeah. So that's a really good point, right? Where we're not really talking about 64 true classes. We're talking about 8 classes with 64 variants. And again, like how you build those variants kind of depend on where you spend your skill points. You know, you could lean more into your subclass or lean less into your subclass, depending on where you're putting your points. There isn't as much variance between the 64 classes as you might expect, right? It's not like there are, you know, 64 different versions of I don't know, like radically different classes. There are 8 classes, 8 archetypes that are all, they have the same chassis, but then they have different augments put on top of that to sort of change the performance of that chassis, to
Right.
make a car analogy.
Okay, so that's good. That clarifies some questions. But I actually just had a concern come up. Like, what if, like, every MMORPG or every game you play, you always play a mage, right? Because you just love mages. The fighters seem boring to you. The healers seem boring to you. Like, let's say you always pick a mage. Well, that's if the mage is weak in 1v1s, no matter what, does that kind of lock you out of PvP, right? Like, if you're really interested in climbing the ladders of PvP rankings, whether that's 1v1s, 2v2s, 3v3s, 5v5s, like, does that lock you out of that type of content because you picked mage? Like, if you're weak in PvP situations, you know what I mean? Like, does every PvPer, if you're like serious and you're wanting to climb the leaderboards, do you have to pick fighter because fighter is the best PvPer? I don't know. Like, that's just what I'm thinking in my head. I think that's one question or one hesitation I have about not having the classes balanced. But yeah. I got to think more about that.
Or caravan. Sorry.
Or caravan now.
Is that making sense, guys?
And obviously, y'all can ask further questions in future updates and stuff like that. So definitely toss us your questions. I know we have a few other questions that are in the mix of things that I will be asking during our Q&A segment. But we're going to move on to our environment segment, if you guys are both okay with that. We have a lot to go through, so... on the environment side, we have a lot of assets to go through, so bear with us as we go through them. While I'm going through these, because there are a lot in regards to junior buildings and junior objects and things of that sort, and then we go into kind of like plant life stuff. So if we want to first talk a little bit about the work that's going towards nodes and leveling up process, I know we've been talking about this as we've gone further and further, but obviously there's more work being done every month in this. This is part of a big system that will affect all of, like, a lot of our systems in game. It's like a core system.
Wait, what?
So if you don't mind talking a little bit about what's happened between last month to this month in regards to that, and I will go
to the
through
core
all of
system.
these assets.
Yeah, I'm interested.
Sorry, I missed the first part of the question.
I also missed the first. I was hoping
Oh,
Jeff didn't miss the
weird.
first part of the question.
If you guys want to talk, I'm going to go through the junior buildings and objects, and there's a lot of them. If you guys don't mind talking a little bit about the node process and that.
Oh, the node process.
Like,
what is...
the work that's gone on between last month and this month. Obviously, it's a core
I
system
see,
that we
I see
have.
what you're saying. I
Yeah.
see. Yeah. So essentially,
You guys are distracting them. Stop it, chat.
no, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. So,
Okay.
moving into Alpha 1, we've started to stand up additional components for how design and environment approach the propagation of nodes within the world. So originally it was a little bit more brute force and manual how the placement of buildings within a node's essential levels, and as it leveled up, it would unmask those buildings. It would show those buildings, so to speak. What we've done now is engineering has provided tools to essentially give the design team this design data table by which they can drive at scale the larger selection of nodes that exist within the world. Jeff, if you want to expand a little bit on that.
Yeah, so as Steve was saying before, like, the tech for the node system that you've seen previously has all been sort of like the underlying back-end stuff that manages all of that. But in terms of like the actual presentation of the node, it was all fairly static. So we had kind of the same node stamped across the world, and each node kind of felt the same, right? So now what we're getting and what has kind of been unlocked is the ability to do things more dynamically and more procedurally, so that when a node spawns, there is the opportunity to have different layouts and have different buildings and have different sort of architectures and each node starts to feel like its own place, right? So it's not the same node over and over again. Now we've got a node that kind of evolves and changes depending on where it's at and what the environment is and what race has procced it. So we start to get some of that differentiation that we haven't had previously. And so this is what I call like our real node system. Now we can do some really cool things where, you know, when a node levels up, it maintains this sort of the same feeling. So it feels like it's growing out from its city center, right? And it has this identity that it kind of evolves and people get to understand it. But then when it gets destroyed and it starts over again and people re-level it, it's completely different the next time. So that's a lot of like where we're playing with right now and trying to figure out sort of the best way for design to approach that problem in terms of populating NPCs and putting quests in, making those quests smart. So that's kind of where we're at that point. We're playing with the real node system, and that's sort of what you'll be starting to see in these alpha previews. There's still a lot of work that needs to be done there. So it will feel more static than what I'm talking about, but the underlying architecture is there. And as we get more and more assets, we'll be able to sort of build that out and get that full dynamic feeling.
Yeah, that seems a difficult thing to do.
Awesome. And then I do have
it sounds
some
awesome,
other things
though.
that I want to
it makes me excited.
So move those up in the scene here. We can go over those. We've also got some like cool rocks. Like this is kind of like these big.
This is no rock.
You know that's not a rock. That's an overhead.
Yeah, it's like the overhang on the
of that
island,
concept
right?
that exactly that we showed previously in the past. I believe this mesh kind of helps to facilitate that over arc that exists where ships can kind of sail through along the ocean. Yeah,
and that's a house
like,
down there
for
scale.
Rock. For us, it's like this is the rock.
And those are little NPCs and stuff down there.
Yep, those are little NPCs
that's how big
and houses.
The scale.
That's
how
so
big
cool.
that thing is.
Dang.
And then obviously we have some more plant life that has been being given some love. I saw you guys commenting on the grass, which is funny because everyone's like, we've had that grass there forever, but y'all really liked it. There's even more amazing plant life coming. If you're a plant mom like me or plant dad, whatever you define yourself as, there's lots. There's more coming. I would like to have my house filled with plants, Steven. So
yeah, I mean one of the big directives for the environment team, and I know Mia has been amazing in this regard, is each of the biomes really need to have a fairly eclectic selection of plant life, of vegetation, of foliage. These help to create the atmosphere that you are really immersed in, this different climate zone. And that's obviously, something that we as players enjoy when we get to see a significant diversity of plant life, because it does lend itself to the immersive nature of the world. And the world just looks so beautiful. It makes sense for us to have
I just
such
want to live there.
Dynamicism. Yeah, absolutely.
I think people are saying, can you grow your own plants and then put them in your house and stuff like that? I would hope so. I would love to be able to create my own little plants and then put them in my house and pot into them. I just want to live my best witch life. I'm just saying.
She's a green witch.
Yes, there are crops that you can. There's crops you can have on your freeholds. There's little garden sections that you can have on the static housing in nodes. There's in-house decor items that will include plants that will progress and as you kind of grow it and give it. One of the ideas I really like in some of the decor pieces is, and we'll see if we can get this added. I don't see it as an issue, but I've always kind of liked the idea
that. Sorry.
And no, it's not. It's not too big of a hassle, but essentially having decor items that are relevant, right? We've talked a little bit about like how you can have stoves and how you can have ovens and whatnot, and those will augment kind of buffs that you can eat and whatnot. Well, the same is true for potentially house plants as well. If you have a decor item that's a house plant, it should be essentially the same basin logic as what's out in the garden. You can put a seed in there, and perhaps certain seeds will have different meshes that represent different life stages that the plant is at, right? Like a little one, bigger one, and then full size adult one or whatever. And if you do water it appropriately, do whatever, you can then harvest or yield from it, a unique item that can only be coming from that particular decor item. And then decor items are obviously classified according to tier, and what size your home is will grant you different access to certain tiers of decor items, right? So perhaps only a mansion person who owns a mansion category type home can have a particular potted plant that yields a unique item that's incorporated into the craftability of certain alchemical potions or crafted items, whatever.
This
Hey,
is so
for
much
people
more
saying that plants are useless. Do not
intense than
even
I was
come fight me.
expecting.
Water your plants, people. All right, we're gonna move on to character stuff. So for those of you who paid attention to our creative director's letter, you might have seen some of these, but we also have some video footage for you. And I know Steven also might have shared some of these as well. But
This armor looks awesome.
Haven't been, this is a great time to keep up with things on our development update.
The detail
So,
looks amazing.
Look at that hair.
These are
the hair is sweet too.
Obviously, as we continue to move forward in the character art towards essentially when we get to a place of having the character creator we want to present to the players, and you guys be able to kind of play with that before launch and save different designs.
That's
that you have.
so cool, man.
We take feedback from the players.
It looks amazing.
Art is obviously a work in progress, and you can see how, if you look back, a year and a half ago or 2 years ago, where the character was, or no, not that, Jeff. If you look back 3 years ago, well, you'll really be scared. But you can see kind of how the character progresses. And this is a great example of just the hairstyle and fidelity that's possible of these particular hairstyles. This one was done
crazy.
by, I believe, Jinsey.
That looks so good.
And she knocked this one out of the park. But just kind of gives you an idea from a fidelity perspective where we're headed. And here you can see male version of different hairstyles as well. And players can obviously select to have their helmets visible or not visible, and they can show off, their cool hairdos.
Yeah.
They're cool hairdos.
They're cool hairdos.
That hairdo is pretty
We
sweet.
got our little dwarf friend here.
I don't know about this
nice.
one.
I love the dwarven hair. The
I
female
love the
dwarven
shaved
hairstyle.
sides. Like it's a very in style right now.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it looks
Yeah.
awesome.
I don't know. I don't know if I
And
like
then
that
we're
one
going to
as
be moving
much.
on to some armor pieces,
Some people might though.
but I wanted to give that
The
dwarf a
armor
little
looks
spin.
awesome though.
And then so these first ones are some leather pieces that are on the Kalar, and then we'll be moving into some Veyloon like cloth and leather armor. So are these off?
Yeah, the detail in the armor looks amazing.
So those are level 1 through 10 Kalar leather, I think. So just to kind of give you guys an example of the in-game armors that are earnable, achievable, craftable, level 1 through 10, you kind of get an idea of where it's, visually where those sets are going to be at from both a silhouette standpoint, as well as from a, texture and material standpoint, give you guys an idea. And then, obviously progression in armors, then this would be a Veyloon 10 through 20. I believe this is a 10 through 20 leather set as well. So this is of the Veyloon, and this is, I'm pretty sure this one's the in-game version. I don't think this is from a cosmetic set. But yeah, just kind of give you guys idea of progression. So as players progress from levels 1 through 10, 10 through 20, 30 through 40, right? Each of those tiers are going to kind of, respective to their armor type, are going to progress in silhouette. They're going to progress in, in the intricacies that are present from a component standpoint on the armor, and kind of just continue to level up until eventually you get up to, and you guys haven't seen this yet, but when you get up to like, 40 to 50 armor or level, or, top level armor at level 50, these are going to be pretty significant, sets that look pretty badass, or excuse me, pretty bad butt.
bad butt.
Bad butt sounds worse
Bad
somehow.
butt. I know.
Oh my goodness, that's too funny. And then the long-awaited next segment that we'll be talking about is our glorious Gourd winners. We had such a hard time voting. We sent out the voting to our teams, and
It wasn't a hard.
no.
Wait,
Well, there
guys,
was one very
this is it. This is what we've been watching for. The glorious Gourd winners. Let me show you. This was my submission right here. This pumpkin. It was amazing. Like, check out the wings, check out the shading and the levels. Okay, this is what we are going to be comparing to the contest winners. Okay? Just keep that in mind.
very clear.
Because I submitted in this contest, and we're about to see if I win.
I mean, I think there was like 100 pumpkins or something used in it. So that
Ooh,
100 pumpkins. Ugh. Okay, so I think they're giving out 5 to 7 Alpha 1 keys. So I have to be in the top 5 to 7% of all the pumpkins submitted.
the person might know then.
whoops.
For this, I'm gonna kind of preface. First and foremost, that obviously we had our Glorious Gourd contest prize. We want to give a big thank you to AMD for giving us a wonderful graphics card that our winner, our grand winner, will be winning. All of the other winners will also win a vintage logo hat of Ashes of Creation, an Ashes of Creation vintage logo lanyard, a vintage logo mouse pad, and also Alpha 1 keys.
The Alpha 1 key is all I care
As
about.
a little bonus, because we had such a hard time voting, we're going to give some honorable mentions Alpha 1 keys too. Now, I know that some of
Okay, dude. Pull yourself
you
together.
also probably want to win an Alpha 1 key, and I implore you to come join us for our Extra Life live stream, because we'll be giving away some more during that, so stay tuned. But without further ado, I'm going to start announcing, starting with our gorgeous prize. I'm doing this in the order Toast gave me. So our let me see, she wanted me to go with gorgeous first, so I gotta move it up. All right, gorgeous first, and that is going to go to Mitch Coco.
Guys, this is the last place. There's no way. Look, here's mine, and here's theirs. Theirs is so good. Holy cow. What the heck? That's amazing. That's so good.
With this beautiful dragon. I think we've
amazing.
seen it's so good.
Oh my
and, like, the way that
gosh.
it lights up is just amazing.
Oh my gosh, guys.
Really great job.
It's so good.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Are the horns also pumpkin? Or
Mine
Yeah.
sucks compared to that.
no?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Are they? Are you
Yeah.
sure?
I'm serious.
How?
This is some
That is truly a
badass
glorious gourd.
carving. So really
Bad
great
butt.
job. This is a gorgeous pumpkin. The
Oh my gosh, man.
our,
There's no way.
Baron friends would be very proud of you. Our next one is going to our glorious prize winner for the most original and epic. And that's going to Llama.
Yeah,
Llama.
I remember seeing this
don't know how
one.
to say her
It's
name,
all
so
right, I
What is
guess.
it? It's llama,
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 Llama.
llama.
I know, I'm just being funny.
That's
Llama
funny.
Mama, wow. Look at that intricacy of this carving. It's
Yeah, the
so
intricate.
beautiful.
It is
I
intricate.
like the little map detail.
It is intricate.
The map itself is kind of the continent masses are carved into it.
Yep.
That's pretty cool.
It looks good.
So, congratulations,
pumpkin
Llama
inside
Mama.
of-
Yeah, it
pumpkin?
looks better than mine.
It's pumpkin inception.
Pumpkinception.
Pumpkinception.
Oh man.
Pumpception? Pumpkinception?
Yeah, that's a heckin' bad butt pumpkin there.
Yeah, they do.
All
have
I
the
can
old
hope
logo,
for is
but
honorable
it's okay.
mention, right?
The level of
All I
talent
hope
is nuts.
for is honorable
Hey,
mention.
we don't call it old, we call it original
It's vintage,
The
is
vintage?
what I call it.
or vintage. Yeah.
Yeah. The next one is going to our grand prize winner, who will be going home with an AMD Sapphire Nitro Radeon.
I know which one
RX
it is.
5700 XT.
It's not mine. It's really
Ready?
good though.
Ready.
This is the one that
Ready.
that they're all like In fact, at one point, I'm just gonna go back. I keep you guys in suspense. In fact, at one point, people in the comments on our like voting thing were like, "If that one doesn't win, I'm gonna rage quit Intrepid." And Steven's like, "No."
Well, when I saw that, I was like, wow. This is
I
This
saw
is
it
some
too.
serious voting. All
Yeah.
right, here we go. I'm gonna go to it now. Congratulations to
That is
I
not
Hate Healers, which
one
I'm
that
also
I've
very
seen.
sad about this name because as a healer, I keep you alive, sir or madam. Grand prize winner is going to this ridiculous, amazing masterpiece.
Okay, that's pretty
that
cool.
Won the best overall.
I was
grand
actually not
prize.
expecting that.
Congratulations. They also put, because this is green screened like that, they put her like in the world. It was so good.
Oh, why don't we have that picture in the world?
Because we when we were doing the judging, we allow you to submit one photo because obviously otherwise you could make multiple photos and then it would be unfair to other people. But yeah, it's quite amazing. Definitely go check it out on the forums because I implore you to go check it out on the forums because it is amazing.
So just so people are aware, by the way, this is the Daystrider Mule
Yep.
mount that they created out of pumpkins. Out of, I guess, more appropriately, gourds, and it is a spitting image of the Daystrider mule. They even have the saddleback stuff on the saddle in the back of it as well.
Yeah, that's pretty
I
creative.
just like I want to know what the
I can see why
process
they-
or the creative
I can see why they won.
behind this was. It was like, oh,
And
I
it
can
took a
make
lot of
Daystrider out
work,
of
and
pumpkins.
it was creative.
Yeah,
Like that head is perfect.
I love
That
the
is pretty
effort
cool.
of putting together like the green screen.
The
to it.
effort.
Like it's just so good. So congratulations on winning the grand prize. Not only are you getting all of the vintage goodies and the Alpha 1 key, you are going home with the AMD graphics card. So again, thank you to AMD.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you to AMD, and hopefully that gives you many
Well-
long times of game action. Now,
That means I'm
y'all
not.
are probably wondering who got the honorable mentions. So we're gonna go through those, and these folks will also be getting an Alpha 1 key. So
Okay, please, 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 please. Look at this. This isn't bad. This is actually really good. Okay? I feel like it's honorable mention worthy. Now, I've seen a couple of other pumpkins that were submitted that I think are better than mine that were not in these top 3. So I think they're going to get it. But depending on how many honorable mentions they give out, I can only think of like 2 pumpkins that are not in the top 3 that I think beat mine. Please.
we just
Come on, please, please.
couldn't, we love you all too much. So congratulations to all of these folks. I'll go through them. Our first one is going to be Paramox.
Okay. I see lots of leaves. I understand that comes across as detail. I see it has decent shading, like on the fire on the feet. I get that. I get that. But is it that good? Is it better than mine? I feel like they might be equal. Okay? I feel like I'm a little
Look
salty.
How amazing this is. This is my little fox buddy that I designed, and it's so cool seeing them on like a pumpkin too. The little kit box. It's so cute.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I love the leaves on the tree.
Yeah,
Very
the
well done.
leaves, but
Yeah.
that's
And, like,
easy. that
the little
doesn't
lamps
take.
are actually glowing and
You ju-
stuff, and the eyes
Yeah,
are
the
glowing.
colors are perfect for it.
You just get a little scooper and you go scoop, scoop, scoop for each leaf. It's not.
It's perfect. It's so good. Our next one is going
It
to
is good.
Nuggety. Nuggety put together the song, like the notes for the song had little like people in there who are like the bards. I believe there is supposed to be 8
Okay.
bards.
Okay, it's creative, but it's a pumpkin carving contest, and we were only allowed one pumpkin. One pumpkin. And when I'm looking at these pumpkin carvings, it's not creative.
And even has like instruments in the scene. Like, it's so good.
That is really cool.
Right.
It's cool. Yeah, I like it. But does the level of carving in this beat this? Okay.
Cool.
Okay.
Yeah, very, very cool.
We'll move on.
We just had a hard time. You guys we had so many
Yeah, there was
submissions.
a lot of effort put into a
There were
lot of
like
these
300
submissions.
submissions, and we had such a hard time deciding. So we're like, you know what? We're gonna give some more people alpha keys. The next one here is from Johnny A. This is a beautiful masterpiece of art. We also allowed people to do a digital version because we wanted to make it, accessible to everybody. Some people can't get a pumpkin or couldn't leave the house, especially
So
with
the
COVID,
digital was also
we
included?
always
I
like
thought
to
the
give people
digital
an
was a
option
separate
to do
category.
a digital version as well. And this is amazing. Look at the orc. Just all of
Yeah,
this.
that's very cool.
Very,
It-
very
it
well
is a
done.
good digital
so
work.
congratulations, Johnny A. Our next one here is the map. Steven, you're talking about a map. This is a friendly neighbor. Wow, the effort that went into this.
That is crazy.
It's madness. So cool.
That is crazy.
Y'all are so talented.
Okay.
I think we're just in shock at
It
how
does
talented.
take a lot of effort. And I actually think this, I mean, she was just talking about submitting one picture, one pumpkin, and he had to have like 5 pictures explain what his was.
Our community is. Down the line, I know Toast and I have talked about doing like weapon contest designs, costume contest designs, like once the game is launched and stuff. So like I can't wait to see what freaking crazy stuff you guys come up with. It's going to be
Okay.
amazing.
Okay.
The next thing we have is Flaunt, which is, I love the back of it was carved, and so the
Yeah.
light, if you look at like the light that's shining on it, is a dragon in the background. Like, so sick, dude.
Yeah, that is pretty cool.
Is it though? Is it?
Great job, Flaunt. And I can tell, to be able to like make those little bits come like and glow through. I've only carved a couple pumpkins, but
Am I like a parent that thinks their child is the best? When everyone else looks at the child and they're like, man, that child's an idiot. And the parent is just like dead set that their kid is the very best kid of them all. Am I that parent? This is my picture. This is my pumpkin I submitted. I feel like the 3D-ness of it, it's like popping out. And with a very smooth cut on the outside that highlights this even glow emanating from it, and then the wings are on fire. Where this right here, he just got a stencil for the words, and then he didn't. There's no depth in this, right? He just cut a stencil out, basically. I don't know, like. Am I the delusional parent?
I'm like, that is not easy. So really great job.
Am I?
Love it.
I might be.
And then our one after that is Evoxia, who made our crazy turtle.
Come on, guys. Come
It's
on.
just so good.
It's
So you got
all
the ocean in the
Galaxy
background.
lights coming
It's
Yeah,
through.
all
like little,
right,
ocean in
and
the
I
background.
see they put it in front of an aquarium.
The ocean in the background and the galaxy lights inside of the turtle.
Mm-hmm.
But they just did a sculpture with pumpkin bits.
It's so cool. This is one of our mounts in game. If you saw our
It's not a
aquatic
pumpkin
mounts video, if
carving.
you haven't, go check out our 4K aquatic mounts video. And thank you, Evoxia. And our last one is going to Woodox. Wow. This is another
All right.
digital one, but whew,
Okay.
this is our dragon that we had in that little raid
Okay.
section that Steven had showed off.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
Even got the environment. It looks really good.
Yeah, the lava effects are cool. Very nice. Well done.
The little glow, like you can see the reflection in the clouds
Mhm.
underneath. Very neat.
All right.
So congratulations to you all. I believe all
No,
the winners have been
yeah.
contacted. Toast can tell
Makes
me if
sense.
not. But all of you who are bonus Alpha 1 keys, you're going to be getting reached out.
Look, I want to show you guys something. Look, this is another submission. This isn't mine. This is someone else's submission. Look at the level of artistry in this submission. Okay, this is one of the submissions I thought was better than mine. He's doing like a summoner. Like one of the classes in the game is a summoner. And he did like the summoner picture. This looks freaking sweet. Like this is an amazing artistic picture of a pumpkin. This is mine. And it doesn't look as good, right? Like mine doesn't look as good as this. But it's still nice in its own way. Like it still looks decent, I guess. And I guess like what you're saying is that this turtle in front of the aquariums is better than this. Is better than this. Like I just don't know if I agree with the judging. Am I crazy?
Video if you haven't.
Am
Go
I
check
the
out our
delusional
4K
parent?
Aquatic mounts video. Steven? Alpha 1 keys, you're going to be getting reached out to more now.
Like I understand there's talent with digital work, and I understand that they had to put some digital ones in, guys, right? Like the digital ones aren't as good as the actual pumpkin carvings. Yeah, like I understand they had to put some of them in to make the digital people that didn't have access to pumpkins like feel good that they were able to participate. But a janky turtle in front of an aquarium.
Because we wanted to leave it as a little surprise.
Like, forget
for
about
honorable
my
mentions.
submission.
But we just
What
had
about
such a
the
hard
other
time,
guys?
Picking our winners because you guys are so talented and there were so many submissions. We're like, we can give away extra keys, right, Steven?
Yeah.
So beyond that, let's get into our Q&A segment if you guys are ready for it. I know that was
Always ready for
that was a
QA.
big hot.
I'm a little salty, guys. I'm salty. All right, we're just gonna have to get our alpha key by other means.
With all those pumpkins. I'm gonna play our little video in the background while we do our Q&A because I feel like that would be nice if you guys are cool with that. So our first question here is on citizenship, and this is from Lineker and Sunboy. They both had a similar question. Will citizens and or mayors know details such as a list of new citizens in a node, citizens that have left the node, and who participated in elections? Are you gonna go like mail them all election notices?
No, there will be, well, for election notices, yes, there are election notices that do get mailed to the account.
No, I meant like the mayor, like being like, hey, you didn't vote for me, I'm gonna go message you.
Oh, no, you won't be able to see the votes, who voted for who, no. But you will see a list of active citizenships. So that'll be through the node town board, essentially, that players can interact with. You can get a list of citizens there. You can even click on the citizen and get some information about that particular citizen, such as guild affiliation, society that they may be a part of, religion that they may follow, whether or not they own a property, what type of property they own within the node. And then the list of citizens themselves. Yes, you'll get that information.
And we'll probably notify people as people join the city. So, somebody signs up to be a citizen, there'll be a notification like, hey, welcome so-and-so to the node.
Right. And that'll probably be that won't necessarily come across the screen per se, but in the chat box, you'll have a dedicated node chat section that is just for citizens of the node. And you'll get the notification likely within that chat box. So-and-so has joined the nation, so-and-so has joined the node.
People want to know if they can get vote by mail, voter by mail.
Well, there's a lot of potential fraud. No, I'm just.
It's gonna be that kind of stream.
I know.
Oh, Steven. I knew that was coming as soon as I asked it, but I also
How
totally
how
had
relevant
to.
for election
We're
day
trolls,
being tonight,
sorry,
guys.
y'all. We
yeah.
have fun. Our next
no.
question here, unless you had something more to add to that.
Just to be clear, that was a joke. I
Yeah,
have
that was a
full,
joke.
Full confidence in our election system in the United States. So the question is, sorry, what was the question?
The citizen one.
Yeah.
If they'll have more information, like detailed lists on new citizens
Okay, yeah.
who've joined the node, that kind of stuff, who have left the node,
Yes.
and who have participated in elections.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, our next question here is from Reasonable Mayhem about sieges. It says, will items offered in personal shops, player stalls, and auction houses, besides raw and processed goods, or will items such as gear and consumables be at risk from a node siege? So if you have a little personal shop or a player stall up or auction house items up, will those be at risk if a node is sieged?
So the way that the stall works differently from the player shop, right? And there's two ideas here. The stall is a rentable space that does not require the player to be present in order to have the items actively available for purchase by other players. They just rent the stall, and NPC there services the stall with what you've decided to link as either a service or an item to sell, and that exists for a period of time, and you pay for that period of time. Then you can leave and you can play. A player shop is where you have a certificate to essentially create a shop with your character, and a little billboard will pop up above you as you kind of sit down for that shop and kind of advertise a custom message that you want to use, that you want to say, and that has to sell things and or services that are on your person. So players can then come up to you and they can interact with you, and so you're kind of you reside yourself to that shop.
Okay.
With regards to sieges, in the stall scenario, you can link the stall to your warehouse. So it doesn't just have to be in your inventory for the stall. The stall can actually be linked to items in your warehouse, and those items could include materials. Now, materials are at risk during a castle siege. During a
Node siege.
during a node siege. Thank you. So it is possible, I guess, in that sense, that you could lose a portion of those items. So you don't lose whole items in node sieges. All your warehouse contents aren't vulnerable for node sieges. However, materials are. And materials are either processed processed gatherables or raw gatherables, right? Those are the materials.
Okay.
And the same could be true and said for the player shops. If you get killed while being a shop, you would then have the normal death penalty, which could include a portion of your materials and or gatherables that are on your character.
Yeah, and we've answered the secondary part of that before in regards to materials and being
Right.
lost.
And it's important to note, by the way, and this is, again, this will be tested, but in a node siege, when the declaration occurs, material goods within the warehouse of the node that has had a declaration made, those are restricted from movement. You can sell them to players through the stall, but you cannot incorporate the warehouse connection with materials into launching a caravan out of the node during the declaration period. So it's essentially like all trade kind of comes to a little bit of a halt there, and there's a risk associated with it. So
All right. And then our next question is going to be in regards to secondary classes. And Felix wants to know, or it's a PH, so I'm assuming it's Felix or Pilix. Will switching my secondary class be subject to a cooldown period? Like, can they just swap around, or do they have kind of like a time frame that they can't do it in?
We've talked about a number of different ways of doing it. There probably will be a cooldown. There may be a quest associated with it, which would function as a cooldown. We may allow you to have multiple specs that you could swap between with the cooldown. So there's a couple different ways that we've talked about it. We haven't really settled yet. Once we start actually implementing these secondary classes, we'll be able to kind of get a better sense for how it feels. We want them to be flexible, but we don't want them to be so flexible that you can, kind of change your character's character at a moment's notice. It probably, at the very least would require going back to a node to swap it out.
Right.
But it's something we're still playing with conceptually. And then once the rubber hits the road and we start testing it out, then we'll have some better answers for you at that point.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. So, follow up with us. And obviously, as we announce more stuff with the archetypes, because we have some archetype articles coming out, we'll be progressively adding more to those as we, get further along in our development process. But our next question here is actually more of a personal one for Steven, and this is from Effie, and they want to know, what race and class are you going to play and why? I already know the class. It's going to be some type of mage.
Unbelievable. You can't say that. You'll weight the population.
I know you too well.
No, I haven't chosen, obviously. I imagine I'll have multiple characters, obviously, that will be different classes and or races. I typically, in what I have played in MMOs, I've played some caster types usually, or a tank / healer. So really, I don't know. I'm across the board. I don't really have a particular favorite. I think originally I used to be a sorcerer or mage, and then I really liked getting into tanks and like being a healer as well. So I'm kind of everything. I like playing everything.
Because I don't want to just focus this on Steven. Jeff, what is your go-to normally?
So I'm almost always a hybrid class is usually where I end up. I like being able to be that flex role. So I do, as much as I hate admitting it, I do end up being the kind of like bard style kind of class more often than not. And WoW, I played a druid for a long time. I'd be a moonkin. What else did I play? I often am bards when I play D&D, not on purpose, just because that just ends up being the most fun.
He's a power gaming bard.
I am.
I feel like we actually, the three of us, make a great party because I normally always am a tank or healer. I like to make sure that, everyone stays alive, that we're pulling the right mobs, or, those are... I have a bit of a control problem. Mm-hmm. I know. It's I just don't want anyone to die. I don't want anything
I'm always a damage
happen.
dealer.
I
love
feel
just dishing out massive
DPS,
amounts
but when
of
it comes
damage.
to like tanking and healing, there's some level of skill there that, to me, if you don't have the right person in those jobs, everything can fall apart. Like if you have a bad tank, they're taking a ton of damage. They're pulling things improperly. You're not going to have a good time.
I feel like the tank is the goalie.
Healer, people are dying left and right.
Like a
so
soccer
I feel
team,
like
it's most important, and usually it comes down to the goalie.
Combat.
And just to be clear,
but no
for
one
the
wants
audience,
to be the goalie.
Not only is
you want to be the
Jeff
striker,
bard, but he went to Bard College and he plays a bard, so he's the trifecta of bards.
It's true.
He can also sing.
And he can sing. That's right. And perform. He can perform as well. So.
We do have some plans for live events, and I had like a town crier idea that would be in the booth, and he was like, I want to do that. I was like, okay, Jeff, you're in. Just to tell you, a little sneak peek of some cool stuff that we have planned for on the marketing side. Our next question here is about guild progression from Kadak, and they want to know, well, if we ever get to do events again, want to know, will a guild be able to relocate / respec their skill points? Like if they reduce their members and want to specialize in a more passive skill / augment instead, can they do that?
So guild skill point allocation, my initial position on that is it cannot be reallocated. However, that is subject to testing. And the reason for that is there's specific benefits that come along with your allocation choice, and it would be a little gamey if, in my opinion, you could adjust your skill allocation to meet the immediate need in the moment that's required. So to speak, like how you allocate skills can determine the size of your guild. And if you can fluctuate that to be, appropriate for specific circumstances, like a castle siege or a guild war, you can just kick out a bunch of members, reallocate skills, and become super like definitive force. I don't like that idea. So my initial design choice there is no. But we're going to test obviously and see, but I don't see that changing really.
Okay.
Yeah.
So once you spec your guild, you won't be able to change it.
Correct.
Ooh.
Yes. Now
Oof.
you can create another guild, and that other guild can take a different direction if you want, and that would be, in my opinion, fair.
Ooh.
But I do not believe that the guild, because of how guild skills and skill allocation affects the guild size, I don't think that those should be able to be reallocated.
Interesting. That is
And
interesting.
obviously, we're gonna, test things and things of that sort. So everything's subject to change as always. But we will be showing off some guild system stuff in the future. So stay tuned for those things. I know we have an article that's going to go over some of the guild abilities that are coming out as well. So
Okay.
yay. The next thing we have is from Neurotoxin about hair, which we kind of showed off a little bit of hair before earlier on. How will hair and beards interact with equipment and attire in terms of hiding / remaining present while wearing headgear? Ooh, that's a good question, because sometimes like hair just disappears, or it there's a lot of interpenetration of hair in places because of the weirdness of it.
Yeah,
It's
it
usually weighting
depends.
problems.
It depends. So I would imagine, and I have to chat a little bit more with the character team on this, but I believe that helmets will be flagged as either removing facial hair or not, depending on way that the mesh itself is constructed to either cover the face or not cover the face.
Mhm.
But in almost all circumstances, the actual hair piece to the model we can't have that interpenetrating, through the helmet, so that will be masked by the helmet being equipped. Now, players can choose not to have the helmet shown and have their their hair
Full mane
present.
present.
But yeah, I would say in almost all circumstances, the hair itself with a helmet is likely not going to be present in that regard.
I feel like that's pretty
All right.
standard.
And then our next question here is from Anduin, talking about dyes, and they want to know, will armor and cosmetic items have multiple slots for multiple dyes or just one? So for instance, like if there's an outline on the outfit, can I change just the outline color and then dye the insides parts like a different color? Or is it going to be like I add a dye and it dyes the whole entire thing?
So if you add a dye, it's going to dye the relevant components of the set. So for example, if you have a full set of armor on you and it's a one-piece cosmetic and you apply a dye to it, there are going to be sections of the armor set that are flagged for accepting the dye color. So it's going to change the accents along the piece, perhaps more predominant single pieces or areas, but you will not be able to isolate, specifically, I just want this line to be that color and this line to be this color and create a rainbow set, so to speak. You're going to apply one dye to one piece. Now, you don't always have to have a single costume piece, right? You could have transmogs on individual items, and you could apply dyes to the different items if they're individual pieces.
Okay.
So that's something to be said.
He used the word transmog.
Cool. And then we have our next
He used the
question.
word transmog, which made me excited because that was one of my big questions. Is they were showing how the different leather armor looked on different races and stuff like that, and I was worried that everyone was gonna look the same, But it sounds like from what he was saying is that each piece is gonna have its own identity. And so you can mix match armor sets and totally janky if you want, or you can have a solid piece. And so, yeah, I was a little concerned about that, but he sort of clarified that.
Boxes from Mazriel and Nappy, or Maz.
Hey, thanks everyone for checking out the stream, by the way. All you guys on Twitch, I really appreciate it. Stick around.
Mazriel. Let me know how I'm saying it. Hitboxes, which is, will hitboxes be standardized for all races regardless of their size, or will it change? And I think we have discussed this a little bit. I don't know if we've put a standpoint on what our final decisions are. And obviously I know you guys are going to be testing things throughout. But what is your current stance on that?
So that's something we're going to be testing. Obviously there's a variance between the hitbox of a dwarf and an orc. And that's an extreme variance there. As we kind of approach it, we have some ideas on how to accommodate different sizes of hitboxes not just from a stat perspective, but also from essentially a distance and projectile size as they approach a target per se. Now, we don't have separate types of hitbox categories. For example, there's no head hitbox in the MMORPG like there was in APOC. So from a critical standpoint, you're not going to see a greater risk of critting for a larger hitbox. But the opportunity to hit a target, that's, I don't know, Jeff, you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, it's a thing that we have to be careful with, and we are aware of sort of the swampiness that can end up if you don't do this right, especially when we're trying to kind of lean more into the action side of things. We don't want Vec to be the number one choice because they're the hardest to hit, right? But we also need to account for things like, when you collide with stuff and where it makes sense to be able to, where you can access in the world, right? Can Vec get into places with a smaller hitboxes that all other creatures can't? We probably don't want that. So more than likely we'll have some sort of unified or unified-ish hitbox, but again, it's going to kind of, we'll probably have a unified hitbox with some exceptions or some special sort of collision rules based on them, as opposed to kind of just making it smaller for one and not the other. But yeah, there's a lot of work that still needs to be done there, right, and to kind of figure out how we're going to address it, sort of from a technological standpoint.
I mean, from a dwarven standpoint, what the dwarf lacks in height, it makes up in beard size. So you can just have a very massive beard hitbox for the dwarf.
That's true.
Right?
That's true.
And then it's comparable a little bit to the orc. You know what I mean? I'm just kidding.
But the poor Vec don't have any.
That's true. That's true. It is unfortunate.
Right. So hopefully that gives you a little bit more insight into it. I know we have talked about that subject in the past a little bit, but
still under discussion.
It's a thing that
I hadn't even really thought about that.
We've talked a lot about it in the office, and there's problems with every implementation of it, right? And so the goal is to try to find the least worst implementation of it, and then make sure that it's both fair and makes sense from a world's perspective.
Yeah.
Right. Our next question is from Nick Trina. We have one more after this. And Nick Trina's question is regarding the Underrealm. Will the Underrealm be contiguous or consistent? Contiguous, there we go. Or consistent of pocketed areas? Ooh.
Both. So the continuity of the Underrealm area is going to be based off location. So you're going to have pockets that are far more contiguous across certain regions than other areas. And generally, the Underrealm and its location throughout the world is going to be focused around natural geographic choke points, essentially, that exist on the above ground locations. So these kind of provide alternate methods of routing for caravan movement, for player movement, for raid movement, whatever, that people can take advantage of. Is it contiguous across the entire subterranean area that exists within Vera? No. There's going to be similar to above ground. There's going to be areas that are obstructed by either large chasms or whatever, similar to above ground, how there are mountain ranges or water or whatever. So there's areas there that are that are going to be confined to specific locales.
The underground realm
something we've talked about
like
too.
to
And I don't know, we haven't talked about it in a little while, but we've also talked about nodes and node states affecting sort of what openings are open and what things are closed. So not all entrances to the Underrealm will be open at the same time. So that configuration can shift, and different routes will open up and be more advantageous than other routes. Things along those lines. So we want to kind of keep that part dynamic as well. But there's some challenges there too. So we'll see where we go with that.
Awesome. And our final question here is from Cymex, who wants to know about combat pets. If I'm a more DPS-oriented character, can my combat pet support me with more tank-oriented or heal-oriented abilities? Or does it always match my primary focus?
So combat pets are categorized by
Huh.
class as well and adhere to a simple trinity structure also. So as players kind of determine what combat pet they want to aim for, and I'm assuming you're talking about the universal combat pets and not summoner based summons essentially, right?
Uh-huh.
So you can choose to have a more tank related pet that has tank oriented skills, or you can choose to have a more DPS related combat pet or a support type combat pet. And those will also exist. They'll have different categories of rarity as well. Some that are more, hard to achieve, but have better capabilities and skills.
Cool. That is awesome. Doesn't it sound so cool to be like a summoner?
lost.
Have your
Like
three
Katniss,
summons, your combat pet, and your mount, and you're just like running with this
Is that a
horde of
cat or is it
people.
Professor McGonagall?
I think
That's
that's cool.
my combat pet.
Okay, very cool.
Speaking of pets, cool. So before we go into all of our final stuff and wrap up the stream, Stephen had a little surprise for me. So sorry that this asset is not the perfect,
Pretty.
pretty
pretty.
asset. So bear with me on that front. I'm gonna put you down for a moment. What is this? What are all these games, Stephen?
All right, so I just wanted to, before we kind of wrap up here today, once again talk about the Extra Life that's going to be coming up on Saturday, November 7th. So that's a week from tomorrow. A good friend of mine, Cliff Robbins, he owns the Game Empire stores in Southern California, one of which here is in San Diego. He's also a consultant for a future board game that we have planned with Ashes of Creation.
They're doing a board game too?
He is going to be donating
guys are
to
taking
the
on
charity
so much.
event 12 games that you can see here that people will have an opportunity to win on the stream. So what we're going to do is kind of every 2-hour period, we're going to take a look at who
I
the
think
top.
it's 4 hours.
Or is it every 4
yeah,
hours?
it's during those milestone breaks.
Oh,
I think it
well, okay.
equates to
maybe
4.
maybe we can make it every 2. I don't know.
I had it every 4, so I had 2. You win. 2 people would win during each of the breaks.
Okay, that's fine.
And then
Yeah,
the
yeah, we
final
can
one
do
would be
that.
3, I think, or something
Sure.
like that.
Yeah.
Or 4.
So we'll do the top 2 donators every 4 hours. We'll get one of these games, and it'll be first come, first serve. You can choose one of these games in addition to the alpha key. And is there other stuff that comes with that as well?
Yes, you had. We're calling it like I think it's like the Intrepid Extra Life 2 or Extra Life 2020 bundle. It will also come with the vintage lanyard, the vintage hat, and vintage mouse pad.
Yeah, so those will get shipped off to you guys, and this is through these particular board games are by a donation from Cliff at Game Empire. If you guys are over in the San Diego
That's cool.
area,
It's
a
I
great
like
game
board
store.
games.
You can
It really
run
is.
by. They're a lot of fun.
You'll end up buying everything.
Yeah, but just to give you guys more incentives to show up, and you guys don't have to donate if you want to come, just be a part of the fun and hang out with us. We're going to be streaming for 24 straight hours. It's going to be crazy, but we've done it the last 3 years, and it's been a lot of fun to hang out with the community. So, yeah,
Cool.
Yeah, and
Cool.
I'll just put that up on the screen again. That is November 7th at 6 a.m. PST, because we're going to over it and works in any changes that they need to do. We do have our monthly cosmetic swap over, so if you're interested in checking out the new set, I did give some teasers to those of you who are hanging out in our Discord, so there are some benefits for hanging out with us. But our next set will be swapping over November 7th, 2020 at 11 a.m. PDT Pacific. I might have the date wrong on that. No, I have it right. I think November 4th. I think I actually do have the time wrong. Sorry about that. It's November 4th. It is the Wednesday. Beyond that, we have the extra life stuff that we just talked about. I just want to say, like, over the years, this is our 4th year doing it. We've raised over $56,000, and it has been amazing. And you guys always blow it out of the water.
Yeah, that is entirely our amazing community. You guys are responsible, and I did have a chat with the director of their philanthropic stuff at Rady's, and they're going to record a little message for our community, because in extra life, you kind of choose a hospital that you're, the 100% of your donation goes to that hospital. And Intrepid Studios and our amazing community over the past 3 years has risen now to be, the top extra life participant for Radies. And, they do great work there. And we just wanted to make sure that you guys have an understanding of really where you're
going out, and some fun interaction. You get some sneak peeks at some other assets and things like that we share out throughout the month.
All right, guys, go donate is basically what we're saying. Go help them out with their live stream. So yeah, that was cool. What are my final thoughts? What are my final cool thoughts? Oh, hey, before we watch this movie here. My final thoughts are, another great update. I'm glad to see the combat was nice and fluid. It was more fluid than I was expecting. I feel like they completely chose the wrong winners for the pumpkin carving contest, but then again, I might be the delusional parent because my child should have won. And once again, let me just show you my pumpkin carving. It's pretty good, and I feel like it was better than the other honorable mentions. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like overall, pretty good stuff. So we have one more video that we're gonna watch. This is only 2 minutes long, but this is the Cleric role. Okay, the Cleric Archetype. Let's see what they have to show us with this new Cleric Archetype. Okay. Oh. That looks pretty sweet. That armor looks pretty awesome. Wait. I thought it said castration. It's not that. It's castigation. Lashes your target with holy energy, dealing direct damage. Provides health, regen, and mana restoration for you and surrounding allies. So it deals damage. So it's like it leeches life. It provides you health and mana restoration to you and your allies. That's kind of cool. That's cool. Chain heal up to 3 targets. That's sweet. Hallowed ground fills the surrounding area. That's cool. Resurrection. Okay. Classic. Damnation. Curses your target, dealing holy damage over time. Whoa. Holy power that... Oh my gosh. Exorcism. Holy power rips at your target spirit, channeling damage over time. A holy energy blast damages nearby enemies at the end of the channel. So it's a channeled ability, but then it has a one-hit punch at the end. That's pretty cool. Judgment. Lowering their damage mitigation. Those looked cool, man. That looked sweet. Can we just go back and appreciate how good looking this game is? The grass looks awesome. I wonder, it's gotta be in the 4K footage they're showing. it looks totally barren. Like the ground looks barren. They have to be removing the grass to like help it load faster and stuff for 4K, right? Because this ground is like full of foliage and stuff. It looks so good. Dang, man. Dang. The sound effects looks like it sounds awesome. I love the light leaks. They're using the light leaks a lot in their animation, and I really like the light leaks. Lowering their damage output. I like that. I like this heal ability. Holy Power crushes your target, dealing direct damage and lowering their damage mitigation. So this is an amazing, like, an amazing support class. Okay, man, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. That makes me so excited. Dude, that makes me so excited for the other classes that they're going to come out with. Or the archetypes. What's crazy is that's not even a class. That's an archetype within a class. So you can still be a monk, or I forget what it's called, but you could still be like a healer class and be that archetype, or you can switch to a different archetype. I don't know. That's really cool. And they said that there's some fluidity between the archetypes. There might be a little bit of friction, right? Like it might take a little bit of work, but it's awesome that this is an option. And those abilities looked really cool. Looked really, really cool. Yeah, that's pretty sweet. All right, guys. I have one last thing I want to talk about with you today. And that is this. This right here, boys. 501 subscribers. I just want to take a quick second to thank everyone on the channel so very, very much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Here, that's... You know what? I think this requires that we open up a little bit. Guys, I just want to thank each and every one of you who have supported the channel. 500 subscribers. That's halfway to 1,000. Guys, we're so close to being there. Thank you for jumping on this random channel where I make videos just about random things, whatever I find interesting at the time. I don't know. It means a lot to me to have your guys' attention enough to where you feel like you want to subscribe. I don't know. That's really cool. So thank you so much. I really do take feedback. If you guys have like ideas of content you want to see or feedback about the content I've already made, let me know, because I really want to improve. I really want this to be my full-time job. So thank you, thank you, thank you again. And I promise to continue on. Guys, thank you. You know what? We're gonna call it an evening. Thank you so much to all of you guys who have watched. We've had what, like 30, 40 people get on over the course of the live stream. Thank you for checking it out. Break a leg, just like you guys are breaking that subscribe button and the like button. I appreciate you guys, and we'll catch you